problems on making Skype work for some of us. Somehow Skype was not willing to help us. So anyways, I am glad you are all here. Sorry for the delay again. But I'm pleased to be joined here by two great coaches as well. One representing the Turkish region, our friend Hatchy. Hatchy, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. We should do more things like this.
Yeah, we will. We will soon or later. And also representing the CIS region and Russian region, Sharkz, the Vega squadron coach, for those that don't
Yeah.
know him.
Hello guys, and I'm sorry for like having issues and being late, but finally, it's like it's better late than never.
Yeah, that's definitely the right call here. So I'm glad that everything is working fine now and we can start because we have actually a lot to talk about. But first, I want to give you both the opportunity to introduce yourself first. Hachi, if you would like to start introducing yourself, this would be great.
I'm Hatchy, coach of Supermassive. We were at MSI. Sadly, we didn't manage to beat Dark Passage, so now I can just sit at home and comment on what they're doing at IWCQ. Kinda sucks, but have to be happy with what I have.
And you, Sharks?
I'm Alex Sharkz Taranda. I'm head coach for Vega Squadron. I've been working with Vega for like almost a year, like year and 1 month. And we were at Star Ladder Kiev because we managed to get third place last split, but we lost to Besiktas. And this split we lost to ANX, ex Hard Random in finals. They reverse sweeped us, so my ass kind of still hurts, but it should be fine. And we're gonna get the revenge next split.
Alright, that sounds great. And well, so basically, for those that don't know me, I'm representing more so ever like the Latin and Brazilian regions because I worked there as well as a coach. And guys, since we all didn't make it to the white cards, we got to watch a lot of different types of games this weekend already. But let's talk a bit about our expectations first and the states of the national scenes because every wildcard region is totally different in terms of quality and structure. And let's try to break it down a bit. How strong are the national scenes coming into this wildcard? Maybe you can give us a small overview of your national regions. So everyone that is watching the stream right now that doesn't follow the other scenes get a grasp of how the things are going national-wise there.
Go ahead, start Sharks.
Okay, so about our region, we got some problems this season due to CIS being the only region that has best of one system in whole like wildcard regions, because every other wildcard region they have like best of two, best of three. So every other region had more competitive games that we did, and I think it's kind of affected the progress of the teams, because when we started screaming like Turkish teams or some other teams, like in the first week of the league, everybody, like I saw the level when like from what the team started, and after like 3-4 weeks screaming, I saw like that other teams they progress more than we do, and I'm pretty sure it's due to like having more competitive games, like they have more material to study, and that like affected our region a lot. But due to like our players being mechanically better and probably like try harding more than some other regions, not Turkey. I know like Turkey, they try hard a lot as well. I think like our region is in a pretty good state right now, and ANX will make it to Worlds. I'm like 99% sure.
All right.
About us, well, we are a pretty strong region. We are always having like a decent showing at the wildcard tournaments. Obviously, we won last time in Mexico, so Turkey had to be a favorite coming into the tournament. So I'm definitely happy that we have the best of twos because, having more experience in official games, double as many matches as like Russia, for example, gives you a huge advantage. So I definitely hope for Russia that they can catch up to us. I know that Riot Turkey has some great plans for the whole scene next year, so I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, I think Dark Passage also has a pretty good shot at going to Worlds, but I guess we're gonna talk more about it later.
All right, so let me summarize the LATAM system and the Brazil system because like in Brazil and in Latin America South, we run a best of two system where we have only a normal back-to-back. We have like double of games in South than in Brazil, as an example, and we have like the same amount of games in LAN than with South, but with a best of three format. So every region in Latam has a complete different system, and both Latin regions have both 6 teams per region, while Brazil has 8. And like this season, Brazil was shorter because of the Olympics, so they had less games than everyone else coming to this tournament, because like they were stacked up in 2 super weeks instead of like having a normal schedule. However, I think like from every wildcard except for the Pain Gaming lineup that were definitely coming hot into the World Championship, I think like INTZ is the team that Brazilians like kind of hate because they rule like the national scene, but then somehow manage to not play as good in international wise, and so like they're still by far, I think, from everyone still the favorites in terms like from the whole Latin regions, while like the Latin North and Latin America South regions were more known to be like the last place regions and the weakest regions so far. However, I think like this Lion roster right now is like showing up a bit, while the KLG roster is just showing how weak actually the regions are. But that's basically it. Yeah. So I think sadly we don't have anyone that's familiar with the Asian wildcard scene. So we're gonna skip it a bit from this segment and just go into the next segment, because like we already mentioned a bit about our favorite teams coming in. And did you expect like to Alvos Nox like be really dominant, or Lion Gaming even show up? Or you guys probably also screamed INTZ while they were in Europe. So what were your expectations coming into this wildcard tournament?
Honestly, that's pretty funny to me because we scrimmed both hard random. I mean, Albus Nox Luna. I hate the new name, by the way. The old one was better. I remember I was talking with them. I was talking with them in Mexico, and I said that hard random sucks. So I guess they took it too seriously, and now they have an even worse name. So I guess that was a bad thing to do. But yeah, either way, we scrimmed against them and INS, and I can tell you quite confidently that the Russian team is actually playing on the same level that they did on scrims. It's not really a big difference, you know? They are just playing their game, and it's pretty much what I expected from them. While scrimming against INS, like INS was to me much better opponent than hard random. Maybe it's partially because of, I mean, them showing up in scrims more, but it's really surprising to me because watching them in the tournament, it doesn't look like they are the same team that I know from scrims. So actually, I feel like they are underperforming compared to what they show in practice. I expected them to be the heavy favorite in the tournament, but so far it really doesn't look like this at all. So that's pretty much what I thought about the teams that we scrimmed against.
So Sharkz.
I completely agree with Hatchy, and I think like if ANX were here with us, like talking about it, they would agree as well. Because as I know, ANX in scrims against INTS, they haven't won a single game.
Yeah.
The same as we did. So Russian teams are like 0-18 against INTS in scrims, and like they were like super dominant. And I'm pretty sure like the style that INTS usually play, they completely just counter all Russian teams by like dominating mid lane jungle in the like early game. But they play completely different style in tournament. So I'm just sitting here and waiting and like crying on analyst desk and asking INTS to show up finally and show some quality gameplay.
I think that's you're summarizing the whole Brazilian fans in one sentence there, because like everyone's waiting for them to show up, because like everyone hypes them so much. Everyone that has professional contact with them actually calls them like one of the favorites, and every time it's like the same story. Do you think like patch could be a problem for INTZ? That they didn't fit our expectations from them?
No, I don't think so, because even when we scrimmed against them, it was already the patch without lane swoops, right? So
yeah.
what Inns did in scrims is they always could send 4 or 5 people bottom before like 12 minutes 2 times, and they just snowball the whole game out of the team plays. And now when I'm watching them at IWCQ, it looks like they are too afraid to make the team plays. Everybody's too focused on playing their own lane. And it almost feels to me like they don't handle the pressure well. It's like they are so afraid of fucking up and like so afraid of being accused of like playing badly and crushing Brazilian dreams or whatever, that they are just not doing anything at all. And that's pretty sad to me, because that was amazing about them. Our best scrims coming into TBF was Fnatic and Inns, like no doubt, 2 best teams we scrimmed against. So, and they were always getting ahead by playing as a team. It was never about like being individually amazing, besides maybe Young. I think Young is like super good in scrims. But other than that, it was just team plays all the time as 4 people, 5 people, but it's not really the case in the tournament. So I just think they are too afraid. It has to be the mental issue. They're just not playing their game.
What do you think, Sharkz?
I mean, I totally agree with it. Like, it's supposed to be a mental issue. I don't know what like other issue can come up here. And I'm pretty sure some of the Russian right told me that last international tournament where Inns were, like they talked to their psychologist, and he said everything is fine. I'm like doing my job and everything should be okay, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, like from my experience, like in coaching in Brazil, sometimes like the community backlash is pretty harsh. Like, I don't know any equivalent from any other regions because I've never seen something like it. While like the both other Latin regions just start flaming each other, who's the better region, or the typical IWQC thought. But like Brazilian fans are super like are the extra mile basically in terms of flaming the team. So I can imagine like this gets to their heads, and now they feel the pressure because they are even also playing in Brazil. So maybe this is it, but I think we're gonna talk a bit about their games later, because like right now I want to talk. Now that we talked a bit about the national regions, do you feel like we have like the best representatives from each region right now in this tournament, or do you think there are better teams coming from the rest of the world right now?
I love Hatchy smile right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's his favorite.
What can I say sometimes? Yeah, it's a great topic. I love it. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we can start. We can start from the top, just from the top of the table right now.
Yeah, we can.
Right now, Lion Gaming holding like first place, and they haven't lost a single game yet. They're 4-0, and they actually beat already 2 of the favorite teams like Dark Passage and Inns.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's by far the best teams that we could have from their region. And White Lotus and Audi playing out of their mind.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
I can relate to that because I worked as an analyst for Galactic Gamers. We ended up like 3rd or 4th place in the region, and Lion Gaming didn't lost 1 single game, and the whole split. So the playoffs they had a clean run as well, like both trios. I think it was also the only team that trioed in the finals this time, from the all wildcard regions. And
Dark Passage 3-0'd us, so there is that.
okay, so Dark Passage also as well. So the thing is, like, Line Gaming is the tip of the iceberg, basically from the region, because like I think every other team is so far behind in terms of mechanical skill, and also mental game in this region. They are so behind. The Line Game just straight out won because of having better individual players, and just not tilting, because every other team just tilted in the region. So there could be from this region not anyone else representing. But what do you think about the other regions? As an example, like you mentioned Dark Passage, Hatchy. What can you tell us about the Turkish representatives? Would they be stronger without the subs, or do you think like this current composition is a pretty strong Dark Passage?
I think the players that they got right now are definitely one of the best they could get, but there is no doubt that they would look better with Xerx and Caps. Even if I don't necessarily think they are much better individually, it's just the fact that they were used to playing together. And the best thing about Caps and Xerx is that they were so hungry for the win, It's like they didn't have much expectations coming in, and they just played their best, and they really wanted to prove themselves. It's kind of different if you just loan the players and you tell them like fight for it, like fight for your team, represent Turkey, you know, that it's really important for our region. I don't think it's quite the same mindset that they would have like with the other players. So I think their passage would be stronger with Xerx and Caps just because of the synergy. You can see it in games that they are not looking that crisp, they are not looking that like collected, they don't have the best synergy. I'm sure that with Caps and Xerx they would look much, much better.
Yeah. So, but still, do you think like you guys from Supermassive, if you had won, you could have maybe had a better show in the wildcard region, or do you think like they are definitely better than you guys right now?
It's a tough topic, you know. What can I say about this? Of course, I believe that we are like a better team overall, but we didn't show it when it mattered. We lost the finals, we lost them convincingly. So at the moment, Dark Passage was the best representant for the region. I guess we would do better than the current Dark Passage because they have 2 subs. But with Xerx and Caps, I mean, it's only fair to say that they would do better than us because they beat us convincingly. So
Yeah.
there's that.
All right. Sharkz, what do you think about the overall state from your regions? Is like NAX like the top of the like the best team definitely in your region, or was there a mental factor coming to the finals for you guys because you got reverse sweeped? Do you think like your team could have shown better, or is like always not a step ahead in the region?
Yeah, I think we had like some mental factor that like me and our psychologists haven't solved like in time. That's why we got reverse sweep, because in semifinals against Navi we were like 2-0 as well, and we like stomped first 2 games, but then we lost 2. But we managed to come back in time and like win the last game, and it happened again in the final. But unfortunately we got reverse swept. I think if we won 3-0, I would say the same as like Hatchy. If we like swept Anix like 3-0, we would be a better team overall. But they won 3-2, they have better players, they have international experience, they have players who don't tilt, and it doesn't matter where they play, like on different planet, different country, like Smurf, Liquid, they always perform, and like Smurf in incredible shape right now, but Elvin still managed to beat him 1v1 in the Fiora Gnar matchup. And I have like couple young players as our top laner who just turned 18, non-holy, and like couple players who don't have international experience at all. So I think like NX by far is the best team that we could have here in IWCQ.
So basically, what I could get from the whole conversation here is one of the biggest factors we had in the regions is definitely tilt. Like the mental issues are by far a problem. And do you think like it's a characteristic from the wildcard regions like being so underdeveloped right now, or is there a lack of coaching staff or maturity of players? Why do you think like this happens? Because in Brazil it's the same, in Latam it's the same, and I can like definitely believe that's the same also in Oceania, because like we had again the same scenario where Legacy ruled the whole competition until they got to the finals to get 3-0 by the Chiefs, like convincingly, and I think this is an issue that has been there for a longer time period in the wildcard regions. So it's like right now the mental factor, the bigger problem, is it a bigger problem than the actual play from the teams and players?
If I can talk about like our region, there was maybe 4 good coaches this split, and it was Mositing, Lelouch, me, and Soldra. But for the long time, like before this split, there wasn't really many good coaches. So I am pretty certain that the coaches are like they bring huge value, and if you don't have a good coach, you're not gonna be a good team. That's simple as it is. And I don't know what to think about IWCQ, because I seen so many people just like not doing the proper research, banning just random stuff without like even knowing what the enemy team plays, you know. So I still feel like at IWCQ it's much more about the individual skill of the players than about like strategy and macro play. Because to be honest, after 3 days we didn't have a single good game in terms of macro play. It was basically just teams rambling, defaulting to early game picks, and just winning if they can snowball from the early game. And that's pretty much the story for me. The only team that actually tried to play some scaling comps, I feel like, was Ints, and Ints couldn't hold this aggression because everybody else just decided to win the lane and then snowball the game from there, while Ints is trying to execute some harder comps with like Ashe and Kassadin, and it just doesn't work for them. So overall, Ints is definitely the best team in terms of macro play in the whole tournament, but they didn't adjust well to what other teams do, because honestly, this is just a pure aggression tournament so far. Everybody just bets on snowballing the early game, and yeah, there is not much value in terms of strategy that we can get out from this tournament. It's not gonna work at Worlds, I can certainly tell you that.
What's your take, Sharkz?
I actually have no much to say here. I totally agree with Hatchy, and the tournament in terms of macro is really disappointing. And I think like Ints and ANX kind of like almost on the same level of macro game. ANX like lost the game to Dark Passage due to like not reacting in time and like just taking one wrong decision, making one wrong decision in the late game, and they got punished and they lost the game. But
Yeah.
Overall, I don't think their macro was that bad. It was like the same as in scrims.
Yeah, so right now we have like basically what tends to happen actually every white card, that there's like this huge clash of metas, and like we have definitely like total different play styles, and people don't adapt it properly. So looking at the games we had seen so far, so let's take a look and talk about them. Was there a specific game like that you thought it was a bit better, or is there a team that is definitely showing up that they understand a bit better the game, or was it so far just a pure bloody clash of playstyles?
I mean, I can start with it.
Yeah.
The first weird games that we saw, it was like actually the opening game. It was KLG against Ints, and everybody expected Ints to like stomp KLG in like 24, 25 minutes, but they decided to play super passive, super accurate, and like don't go for any over aggression and just wait, and they only took the 100% plays, and it already like I already kind of panicked because I realized that with this, if they're gonna play that accurate and not take any risk, they're not gonna beat like some good teams like Dark Passage, ANX, or Lion Gaming.
Ashish?
As for me, I definitely don't see a team that would show even like a signs of good rotational play. Besides maybe Ints, but then again, Ints is just like waiting too long to actually start doing things as a team. Everything else is just like a bloodbath, honestly, because if you just look at the picks, like even if you compare it to like bigger regions, we have so many Lucian games, for example, like people just going for absolutely lane stomping champions, and they just hope for the snowball, honestly. There is not much we can say about this. I believe that like the issue may be that like team like Inns always scrimmed against good European teams when they were at bootcamp, right? And they played some high-level team play when they just wait, nothing really happens in the laning phase, you don't really get many solo kills, and then you just group all together and do the team stuff, right? It's not the case at IWCQ, because at IWCQ, people will just play over-aggressive all the time because their only hope to win against you is to play aggressive. So honestly, no, there is not much hope in terms of strategy. I still think that Inns has to start doing things earlier, and they could be the hope. They could show up at the end of the tournament and show some like very good objective play. But other than that, not really. I don't see anyone.
So, what can we actually expect then from this tournament? Like in a strategical point of view, do you think like teams will get to a point when it comes to the playoffs that they somehow understood how the regions work, the teams work, and can start like adapting and building some kind of new strategies, evolving from the tournament to the playoffs to get to Worlds? Or do you think like the meta is already set and it will be staying the same until the end of the tournament?
I think the meta is settled, to be honest. If the whole tournament is going this way and you have 7 teams playing pure aggression style, you just have to play more aggressive. You can't just rely on you being better in the late game when like enemy team will just YOLO all in you all the time from the very early in the game. So honestly, for the whole IWCQ tournament, it's probably still going to be all about the early game. And you know, are we going to see the change? Possibly, if INS is like smart enough to notice it. But yeah, not really. I honestly think that the way to go at this tournament is to just adjust to this aggression style and just try to win there.
As I can say, for example, on the ANX side, especially from the regular season, if these guys, they don't want to play aggressive, like early game, they know the ways how to stop like dump aggression from the enemy team. So especially in best of fives, if they want to play like slow, passionate, like late game, they're gonna do it. And like they only lost one game, it was yesterday, and we didn't have any like dump aggression. They just made one play, get Inferno Dragon from that, and they made one mistake, lost like 2k gold, Infernal Dragon, and then the game was equal. But still, it wasn't like a dump aggression yesterday. So pretty sure teams like INS and Albus, Nox, Luna, they're gonna have huge advantage in playoffs in best of 5, because they're just like on the next level in macro and like team-wise from the other teams.
Yeah, I guess with the Russian team, the case is that it's actually easy for them to play this kind of style because they are used to playing dominant laners for the most part. I mean, it's only Kira playing like scaling mages from sometimes, but Liquid will always try to win the lane. So if people want to fight him, he's like, okay, no problem, let's fight. Like that's what he loves to do, you know. So they don't have that many issues with this. I think it's harder for INS that actually is used to playing this team slow style, you know.
Yeah. I think that this was already the story in Mexico, where they couldn't adapt properly to hard randoms playstyle. So it's just like maybe they didn't like prepare properly, or are just like not adapting at all, like not willing to adapt. Like if they have a plan A going into the game and not adapting to plan B, as an example. Like I think that definitely reflects some of the issues they are showing us right now. So let's see how they evolve throughout the tournament. Because like right now, I want to go to the next topic and talk a bit about the games itself. Like first of all, were there like any surprising wins so far for you guys? Because some people on the community and on Twitter, social media, etc., were pretty surprised so far with Lion Gaming's performance. But personally, because like you probably also watched a lot of games of the other regions, were there any specific surprises in terms of who's showing better performance than you expected, or were there any surprise wins for you guys?
Obviously, for me, it's looking kind of like this. Before the tournament, I thought INS is easily gonna be first. Second place is gonna be between Russian and Turkish team. Fourth place is gonna be probably Saigon Jokers again. Then Chiefs, and then I thought it's gonna be Lion and Chaos team, Chaos Latinate Gamers, I guess. So, just seeing as like I expected Lion to be like a weaker team. I didn't know that they made the roster changes. Like I usually do research after the finals, but there was no need to do that since like we didn't qualify, so I didn't know that they made these changes.
Yeah.
But they definitely surprised me. I remember them last tournament, and after they lost 2 games in Mexico, they were basically done. You could watch this team and you saw like a very sad team, everybody just given up on the game, not willing to really pull it up and like give a good showing. They were kind of hoping that the tournament ends already. And well, it definitely helped that they won the first game, which was huge for them because I think they played against INS first. So winning against INS like a favorite in the first match gave them such a huge momentum, you know, because they were the clear favorites to the tournament and you just beat them in the first game. So Lion was a huge surprise. They have a great momentum going into this. They will probably secure the playoffs. Like it would have to be a miracle for them to not secure the playoffs right now. So Yeah, they surprised me, and they are looking like a black horse of the tournament. I don't think even the Lion fans expected them to be so dominant. So definitely shout out to Lion Gaming. They are doing a great job. Odi and White Lotus are easily the best jungler and AD carry in this tournament so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree here with Hatchy. Like, Lion Gaming is like just a huge surprise to this tournament, and I'm glad like that they're catching up to other regions and even dominating right now. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see them. I'm pretty sure like they already qualified for playoffs due to
They
like.
only need to win one more.
I think head to head, like they beat Dark Passage and Inns already, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. I mean, yeah, there is still some weird chance that if they lose all the games and like certain teams are gonna win against each other, that they will not get it. But yeah, it's really slim, and they are probably already secured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, Chiefs kind of surprised me with beating Inns, because it was. Yeah, I didn't actually expect that.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's something that we never expect, but so far, INTZ never won a game in wildcards against Chiefs. Never. Like, it's so
That's
weird.
pretty funny.
It's like the dark horse for INTZ, and they seem to not be able to beat them, because like I think they are 5-0 right now in overall competition between INTZ and Chiefs from the last three wildcards both teams participated. So it's really weird. But yeah, actually, I think Line Gaming is definitely the biggest surprise. But that comes, I think, like because well, I like to call them the Latam Super Team because after the like for a year and a half, KLG dominated the Latam scene, and Line Gaming was not able to pick it up. They were like this huge promise. They were like basically the CLG of wildcard regions. Like they had this huge promise, would dominate the national competition. Then when it matters, they would never show up, like never. So they basically bought out like the best AD carry of the whole region, and then got the best champion from the whole region and built like basically the Latam Super Team. And they for the first time the split region teams in the Latin American region north, they were also picking up support staff properly. Like Line Gaming has a coach, 2 analysts, I think, and also a psychologist. So I think this is also a big deal that I think is worth mentioning, because I don't think like every team in this competition has first a coach with more than 1 analyst, and not even psychologists. How big are the coaching staffs from the teams right now? Do you know from some? Because like I know KLG, Lion, and INTZ have full coaching staffs with 1 coach, more than 1 analyst, and 1 psychologist.
For Dark Passage, they changed the coach like 3 times this split, so they definitely don't have analysts and they don't have a sports psychologist or whatsoever. So it's just him doing like what he can. In that aspect, Turkey is really behind. Like even Russia apparently, because I didn't know that you guys have psychologists already. None of the teams has a dedicated psychologist. Maybe besides us, we had some sessions with the psychologist already, so that definitely works for us. Players love it. But as far as I know, no other team has staff backing them up. Like Turkish organizations basically don't want to invest more than they have to. The case is they don't yet understand that they have to also invest into a bigger staff. So I had some really sad situations when I was talking to the coaches that are doing a really good job by themselves. And in Turkey, they basically have to be coach, manager, psychologist, and analyst in one, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a big shock for them. Even the coaches coming from EU, they just don't understand why do they have to do all by themselves, you know? And organizations don't really support most of the teams here in that aspect.
It's actually completely the same situation in CIS and Russia, because our team's like the only team that has like complete structure with the like coach, psychologist, analyst, and even like 1 more like stats guy who helps our analyst and me. But other teams, they don't actually understand why you need this, and especially I think like the finance problem in Russia even bigger than in Turkey. So teams like don't even think about investing. But the reason I wanted to win so bad against ANX, I wanted to prove that the system that I want every team to have in CS is a proper system and is the right system to have. But unfortunately, we couldn't do it. So ANX they only have their coach, who is not like a strategist or life coach. It's like just a fill-in, And they have a manager who's like doing like kind of like life coach managing stuff, and they don't have any strategic coach at all. And they haven't brought the analyst to Brazil because they thought he's useless. And pretty sure like PvP stagiaires, their jungler and Liquid, like doing the analyst slash strategist like strategy part.
That reflects my whole experience with the CIS region so far. Because like I remember last white cards, High Random didn't even have a proper coach. They had the caster from from that time Starlight, now from Riot Games Russia, with them as their coach, and I think only the manager was there with them as well.
Do they still have the same coach that they had last split?
Last split, no, they do not. Like the guy who was their coach, he was their analyst, but he was put to coach role because they didn't have any other guy, and like right now he's taking like the analyst job, I guess.
Okay.
I just remember that he really hated how things were. He said that even as a coach, he doesn't really have much saying into the team. He kind of has to go with what players want or what the management wants. So I guess in Russia, it's not always so simple for.
No, it's only in NX. It's only on their team.
Okay.
And the guy you're talking about, the AT remains the coach that they had like a year ago, in Brazil, I guess.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah,
he's like full-time Riotcaster right now. But he is actually a really smart guy. He's probably the smartest guy that I met in Russia about the game.
I see. So, so far, like in the tournaments, we talked about like there was no really huge macro play, but we can definitely talk. Was there like so far for you guys an MVP player? Someone that really impressed you guys in terms of his individual play? That you say we can call him the MVP for the half of the tournament so far?
Hatchy, you want to start? Because I'm pretty sure it's your hype train duo.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have to agree that it has to be Odi and White Lotus. Like, most people watching it all around the world didn't even know who White Lotus and Odi are, and they are just doing an amazing job in the team. Like Odi, I think he died for the first time yesterday in 4th match he played. Yeah. His pathing is great, his early game pressure is amazing, he always gets the first blood for the team. So, and White Lotus is just like, he has insane mechanics. Like, his understanding of the game and the cooldowns is really on the level above wildcard regions. Because the biggest issue for all the AD carries is that they, even if they are good sometimes, they still can't have this overview that they know exactly what summoners and like what cooldowns the enemy has, and they can play around them, and they know when to dash forward. That's the biggest issue, because most of the players don't do that. White Lotus knows it. He knows that if enemy doesn't have the CC to like chain him down and just kill him, he's gonna go in, and he's gonna go ham, and he's gonna get the kill. And that's like amazing to watch, So definitely this duo is the best for me.
And I would like to give a little. I would love to give a little shout out to Elvind, because he's my MVP for day 3. He carried both games last night and brought 2 really important points for Dark Passage in order to make it to playoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
Elvind is an interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, like we can talk a bit more about it, because I think it's clear that all the Elwind and White Lotus are showing up, but I think for the first time in White Card we have a bit better support matchups, because like from my experience, every White Card region lacks on supports. Supports don't know properly how to play, pressure the lane, and also most of the regions had problems when it comes to roaming, pressuring the map and warding paths. Do you think like if this wildcard we have a higher level support play? Do you think there's any guy that is a bit better than average support in a wildcard region right now, or what are your thoughts on the support players in this wildcard?
Liquid is easily the best support in this tournament. I'm super disappointed in support because he usually played these tanky champions in scrims and he did some amazing stuff with them. For example, his Alistar was almost like a must ban. He plays it amazingly well. He doesn't show up at all. He gets caught all the time, so he doesn't really have a good tournament. But Liquid is a beast. Liquid is just like, just give me brand is open, just give me brand, I'm gonna shit on them, and he just shits on them. That's amazing about Liquid. I'm really sad that Dumbledore is not there because I believe that he's the only guy that could challenge Liquid. He played against him before and he did great. So for now, it's definitely Liquid. Liquid is the best support in my eyes in this tournament.
I mean, as a CIS coach, I couldn't agree more. So just jump in the hype train, and look at it. Actually, like two of his supports got banned last night, and he had to play Taric, and he still managed to have an awesome game in Taric. Unfortunately, it didn't help his team to win the game.
I mean, like it's something to say that your support are taking 2 bans in this meta right now. I think the support meta is very very closed in terms of what you can actually play. And I think for a team it's so important actually to have those 2 bans in terms of banning out some certain power picks, either junglers, top laners, or mid laners most of all. And he's forcing like 2 support bans. I think it speaks for itself. But to be honest, like as you mentioned, Hatchy, I'm also a bit disappointed by Jokster. Like expected way more because his L-Star and his playmaking is actually not only really solid. In terms of that, but I have to say I'm surprised about RC because when we played Lion in the split, often they would lose the bot lane because like White Lotus he would punish a mistake, but RC wouldn't follow him or not commit to the trade properly. And actually this tournament he showed up a bit better. Like he has been pressuring a lot more better the laning phase, so White Lotus has more room to play. Which I think is worth mentioning because I think he was one of the weak spots in their team, and most of the split audio was also not on the level of play he's doing right now. So I think this is also worth mentioning because the overall level of the supports I think is a bit better than last ones. They seem to have a bit better understanding of how to play outside of the laning phase. I think for the first time in that part. What do you guys think?
Maybe. I mean, he probably doesn't shine as much just because his AD carry is doing amazing and like he takes all the credits. So, usually he's the more shiny guy. Maybe I will look into it more because it really felt to me like it's White Lotus making most of the plays. I guess it's just hard to shine when you have such a dominant carry, just playing alongside you. So
yeah,
possibly.
So I think we have almost a full MVP roster. So let's finish it by talking about mid laners. Is there someone that impressed you in mid lane in this tournament so far?
That's a good question, actually. You're right. I have my favorite for every role, but I don't have anyone for mid lane. I have to think about it. Go ahead, Sharkz.
I think it's actually between Kira and Seiya, because Seiya had a pretty good first game, but he really showed up on Echo, but it looked more like Tokers was just doing so bad first game. Like he did so many dumb mistakes, and he let Seiya to have a good game, but Kira got camped one game on Talia against Malzahar Nidalee duo, I think, and he bought first item QSS, and then he had pretty good mid-late game. He had some awesome ultimates on Talia that won so many objectives for his team. So I think it's between Kira and Seiya, and we need to look at we need 1 more, maybe 2 more days to decide who's the MVP in mid lane.
Yeah, definitely. We need some more time. I agree with Kira. I really like the guy because Kira never like messes up big time for you. You know, you can always count on him. He's never gonna have like such a terrible game that like the team lost because of him. So I guess it's gonna be between him and Seiya. I think Seiya had more shiny moments when he made something amazing, while Kira is just like a super stable player. It's like a super. It's really good to have a player like this in your roster, you know. So I would agree. Let's give it to Seiya for now because he was like more shiny, I guess. But I think in the long run, it's probably gonna be Kira who was the best in this tournament. I think he's gonna show up when they will start playing like the best of series because the good thing is, you know, there's a lot of emotions in the best of series, and Kira is never gonna be the player that like it gets to his head and he can't perform anymore. Like he's tilted. No, it's never gonna be the case. You can always count on him. So in the long run, it's probably like Kira would be the guy that will get it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think the what makes Kira a bit better right now is because he's the only mid laner in this whole tournament to make scaling matchups work. Right now, so far
Yeah,
he's the only one that made it out of lane, instead of feeding, except feeding the enemy mid laner by playing a scaling matchup. Like players like Seiya were able to abuse most of the matchups, but the same when goes for Kira, and he would still lane properly. He would pressure the mid lane even though he had actually the worst matchup in the lane phase, and that's I think it's the most crucial point right now. So I think we we would need the direct matchup of those two, and we're getting. Are we getting it today actually already?
By the way, I am pretty sure I can. 90% Russia is gonna beat Mexico today. I think that if there is a team to beat Lion, it's going to be the Russian team. I just say Russian team because I hate their name, so
Yeah,
forgive me
well,
that.
sadly we're gonna have to wait until the 29th and 9th.
Yeah, it's
because
day 6.
It's day 6. Like they only face each other on the last day, so we have 2 days to hype the matchup. And I actually want to watch it now because I think from the whole tournament this might be the only really good and exciting match to watch.
We'll have 2 good matches today. It's Chiefs against Lion Gaming.
Oh,
I think
I'm
Chiefs is
waiting for it.
is like Chiefs, one of the teams who can, I guess, show something for Lion Gaming and like give us a battle. And Ints against Dark Passage should be really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So our 5 MVPs right now is gonna be Elwind, Odi, Seiya, White Lotus, and Liquid.
Dream
Yes.
team.
Yeah, that's the wildcard dream team so far. I think it's a pretty good team, so let's make it happen. I mean, they can play land region. So next.
I'm
Positive.
actually looking at the stats right now, and Seiya is farming like 8.7 CS per minute, and Kira 8.5. But in terms of damage, team damage, like in percentage, Seiya is doing 23%, and Kira is doing almost 27. And the highest damage on the from team damage is Swiffer, the mid laner of Chiefs, almost 31%.
Yeah, that's interesting because like if you look into the KDAs, also, it's pretty interesting because like we have coming on first place White Lotus with a 29th KDA, followed by Odie with a 28th, and then A Merkel with 23. Then everything else around 10. That comes below that. And actually, I think we can talk about those mid laners, even though like they don't seem like they get every resources available or get the flashy plays and kills. They're definitely having a huge impact on the overall play styles of the teams. Like when we mention actually Albus Nox, Chiefs and Lion Gaming, where I see like Seiya being a more playmaking guy and Kira and Swiffer more damage oriented carries.
Well, for me, Chiefs is an interesting team because personally, I don't think that anybody shines individually in this team. Frankly enough, I don't think they are shining as a team either. But I think their strong side is that they are aware of the fact that they don't have a superstar anymore. Like they don't have Ryder, they have this new guy that like has pretty hit or miss games. Like one time he looks amazing, one time he looks like I still remember him flashing over the dragon and like healing for no reason and just dying. So I think that their strong side is that they are aware that they need to play together because individually they are not gonna make enough difference to beat other teams, and that's why they are looking like well, you know, because understanding that you have to play as a team, it seems like an obvious thing, but for example, I think that's what INS is lacking right now, because they are focusing too much on individual plays. So yeah, I still don't think that Chiefs will get to Worlds as much as I like them because they are really like a nice team and like a funny guys. I still think they will lack it in the end, but yeah, I wouldn't give the MVP to their mid laner, even if he has a lot of damage in this team. I don't think it particularly means much because he doesn't have like a amazing team around him when someone else would take the initiative and like be the carry. And you know that Seiya has a less team percent damage when he has White Lotus. I don't think it's like totally crazy, you know. Like I think it's totally fine because he has these players that will deal this damage. So it doesn't mean much to me. It's gonna be Seiya over him.
All right, so. To sum up the segment about what happened so far, who do you think is the best team right now coming to this tournament? Like throughout this tournament so far?
I will still give it to Russian team. I think Russian team is the best team. They lost the game to Dark Passage, fine, but honestly they shouldn't lose this game. It was weird. It was like a brain lag. Like they can't possibly not notice that their base is getting ruined, but yet they didn't notice it, you know. They could just recall, but like Stejos just pressed like recall in front of 3 people, like hoping that nobody will stop him, and like it was just silly. It was kind of tilty. I think they were just frustrated that like Elwind is so freaking fed and they can't deal with it. They were like just like, okay, it ends now. We're gonna push. We're gonna either we finish the game or they finish the game. We're done. We don't want to play this game anymore. But in the long run, I still think they are the most solid team. I think individually, I think White Lotus can have some issues when he will be playing against someone like Liquid in lane, because Liquid is a really in-your-face guy. So he's not gonna give him like a time to farm up and then do his crazy stuff. He's just gonna go into him like very early. So I think still for me, Russia is the strongest team. INS would be still second if they can start playing like they did in scrims. Like it's simple. If they start playing as a team again, then I think they are possibly the second strongest team. They could possibly be the strongest team overall, the first team. And the third team, I would give it to Lion, honestly, because I think they have what it takes to keep the third place. Fourth place, I think it's gonna be Dark Passage. They still don't look that strong as a team. Like they have the games when they just int. It's like you watch Dark Passage. If they won a game, they will feed in another game, and if they lost the game, they will play well afterwards. You know, it's just they're so unstable, but they have what it takes in terms of individual talent. Zaytnot didn't start well, but he's an amazing player. Like, mark my words, he's the best Turkish AD carry, and he's gonna show up in playoffs when the time comes, because he's just that kind of player. So Elwin is having a great tournament, which is funny to me. People are banning champions that he doesn't even play, which like tilts me beyond oblivion. Like I can't watch the champions select because I'm just like exploding inside because people just ban 2 champions that he doesn't even play. He played it like once in the season, and he played it like on a mediocre level, but fine. Okay, teams don't want to do the research, so Elwin can be a star. Fine. So they have the individual talent to do it. Kira is super experienced. He's a great jungler. He could possibly be the second best jungler in the tournament if he can get a little bit more consistency. So I think they could get the 4th place. And now it's gonna come to the seeding out of like when they leave the group stage. And the matchups when they leave the group stage. Because honestly, I think all of these 4 teams can get out depending on who they're gonna face in the semifinals. Because we have 2 people going out. So I can see a scenario in which like we're gonna have like Lion Dark Passage game, Dark Passage getting 4th, Lion getting 1st, because I think they can actually still do it, and then have like a INS Albus Nox Luna match in another semifinal. So it's definitely an open thing, but I think these 4 teams are the best right now.
Totally agree. Any additions, Sharkz?
No. Hatchy completely. He told you everything you needed to hear, you know?
Yeah, so before we get into our predictions for today's matches and answering some questions that we got throughout the stream, I want to talk a bit about the drafting so far, because
Oh my god, this
For
is
me
the
as a
saddest
coach,
topic of this tournament.
watching every game, I just, what the fuck is happening? Like Nars are left open. People are picking bad matchups into like for laning phase and then playing it even wrong, so they also lose laning phase. Like it is a total disaster because also the bans are so weird sometimes. Like you already mentioned, like Ellen's getting bans that he doesn't for champions he doesn't even proper play. But the same is going for like for Chiefs, INTZ, and also Lion and Calzotting Gamers. So what are your thoughts so far on the drafting? Sharkz, do you want to start on that?
Oh yeah, I would love to start. I was actually like discussing with the Russian analyst last night for probably around 10 minutes, like how to draft on 6.16. And in my opinion, there are three types of draft. You can draft winning lanes, you can draft composition, or you can like start drafting with like strong OP picks, kind of like Gnar Gangplank, and build your draft around that. But most of the teams, they don't know how to draft at all. They don't use the advantages. They don't
That's so true.
punish
Yeah.
the weaknesses. I don't know. It's like, okay, boys, Karma is like banned one out of three picks. Why not one out of three games? Why not like first pick it for no reason when like so many OP picks are opened, or like first pick on red side Bram Lucian for no reason as well. When like such picks as Gnar, like I don't know, Shen, Vladimir, Sever, Ash, Jin, Tamkench. Like I don't know why, but teams don't play Tamkench at all. We only have like one or two teams who prioritize this champion. Like Tamkench is broken, and like so many teams don't know how to play against it. Like right now, meta is settled on bot lane in such way
Yeah.
that the AD carries and the supports who can create 5-man gank bot lane or deny it are the most broken one. That's why Ashe, Sivir, and Jhin are the most broken one, because all they do, they have so much pressure after level 6 that all you need to do is like use your ultimate, ask your jungler to come, ask your mid laner to push the mid and come with jungler, and like your top laner to have TP, and like with this AD carries, you almost 100% can dive bot lane, and by diving bot lane, you get first turret and you can get dragon, and this is how the meta works.
Yes.
The team who take first dragon, first herald buff, first tower, first kill of the game wins the game. That's like how our plan was against Anix in the finals. And I
Yes.
think like our Russian team, like my team and Anix, adapted to meta really well. But other teams, they don't know how to play in this meta.
I agree. Coming into this tournament, I expected meta to be really simple. Bot lane, as you said, Ashe, Jhin, Sivir. So the utility AD carries that can set up like an easy TP play. Top lane, Gnar, because he can bully like basically every top laner right now. Gangplank for the global pressure, for the scaling. Shen, I expected Shen to be there for the global pressure as well, for the ability to like play around the bot lane. And what we see in actual tournament is that there is a lot of Lucian. Like there is so much Lucian. I don't know why there is so much Lucian, but it works. It seems like a broken AD carry if you watch this tournament, but he's not a
But it
broken
isn't,
AD carry
it
at
isn't.
all. Yeah, exactly. And we don't see any Shen. Like Shen doesn't exist, and people just pick top lane counter picks all the freaking time instead of being like, just ban one of them that you don't like. If you want to play like Shen or GP, just ban Gnar, just ban Echo, just ban any like Gangplank, whatever, and just pick the global pressure top laner with like Shen or Gangplank. Play for the bot side, pick Ashe, pick Jhin, pick Sivir, and just get level 6 and just press your abilities, get the turret, get the dragon, and just win the game. It doesn't happen. We almost didn't see a single game. Like it's so simple. Like there is no lane swaps, and you have bonus gold on the first turret. Like you have first blood turret. And it seems like nobody's aware of it. Like we see people like just randomly getting like the turrets in the top and mid. Just pick for the comp and just it's so simple. Just do it 4-man, 5-man bottom, and this is something that Inns understood perfectly well in scrims. They did it every single time. Their gangplank was like super good. They did play Shen against us as well, and they did it all the time. They just pick like Talia mid lane, Shen top lane, any jungler, and just like Sivir bottom with like Alistar, and they just dive you like 5 times before like 20 minutes in the bottom lane, you know? With like Talia, everybody just coming bottom from like level 4. Like they had like level 3 mid laner roaming bottom and just going for the tower dives. And now I'm watching the tournament and like nobody gives a shit, you know? It's just like they're fighting randomly. They picked Shen. There was like a Shen game from one of the, I don't know if it was Japanese team or Saigon Jokers. And then there is like a jungler just walking randomly into enemy jungle and just getting caught, flashes out, gets Shen ult, and then you lose all the pressure because you want to save his ass instead of just like play for the objectives and just go freaking bottom. And you can punish all these Lucians and like bully lanes by just playing together around it. And if they can't get a hit from just doing whatever they want in the lane because you have abilities to punish them, you can actually win the game really easily. But no team understands that, and even INS is not doing that. On top of that, the stake in this tournament is worlds, and we don't see a single team having like a great research. Probably Lion has the smartest bans I've seen so far,
Yeah.
but you have the tournament in which, in Dark Passage match, Elwind can pick Fiora against the Russian team and win like 1v9 solo carry, and like that's the only reason that Dark Passage won this game. And you still have like the Japanese team deciding that they're gonna still ban Gnar and Gangplank. Like they didn't even check 3 days into the tournament that he doesn't even play them. Then they still ban them and they leave him this best champion, and they have like no plan on how to counter it, on how to shut it down. And then Fiora just goes like 9-0 and one-shots everybody. So they know that he carried the game 2 hours ago on this champion. They have no plan on how to stop it. They let him get it. They ban the champion he doesn't play, and then they just lose the game. It's insane to me. I can't watch it. Like every draft, I'm just getting so sad about it. Like it makes no sense to me, and that's definitely the weakest side of this tournament so far.
Sharkz, any additions to the thoughts? Because I agree 100%.
I mean, I already told my opinion, and I'm pretty sure we're like on the same level of how disgusted we are from the draft phase of the IWQC.
It could be so
It's
much
insane
better.
to me. It's insane to me, really. It's just I can't understand it.
Like it's so weird because like I would say by now 85% of the games were already lost in the draft phase, and the rest in pure poor execution of drafts. So I think it's the worst wild card we had in terms of draft so far. Like,
Yes, in terms of draft and in terms of research, because
yeah,
I don't know if a guy can go 1v9. And you still decide to ban something just because other teams banned it, even though they didn't do the research. It looks like in game 1, somebody didn't do the research, but they banned like Gnar Gangplank. So every team thinks, oh, we didn't do the research, but they definitely did, so let's just ban it. and then they just ban it anyways, even though the guy plays like Echo Fiora, Echo Fiora, Echo Fiora every game, and he like does really well on it. They still ban the champions he doesn't play because, okay, we didn't do the research, but they definitely did, so let's just follow on their bans, you know? So that's really funny to me.
well, let's see if they at least now adapt after half of the tournament. So let's move on to the last section before we answer some questions. So guys, if you still want to send in some questions, tag me on the chat and I will write them down, or just send me them over Twitter at DrPuppetLP, and I'm definitely gonna check them out. So, but now I want to hear some predictions for today's matches, because we are gonna have 5 exciting games today. Again, starting with Rampage and KLG. Any thoughts on that matchup?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Thoughts on a game Rampage against KLG tonight?
Oh, it's actually like the game of outsiders, so I don't really pay attention like to these teams anymore, because I'm interested in the quality gameplay, like some new strategies, but this team's not gonna really show us anything, because Rampage is 1-3 and KLG is like 0-4, so pretty sure they have almost like 0 chance to make it to playoffs. And it's probably going to be a bloodbath, probably the same as first day Rampage against Saigon Jokers. No macro game, no plan, just 5v5, straight ARM, have some fun and go next, you know?
Yeah.
I agree. I think KLG is pretty much the same team that I remember from last tournament. They are just given up. They know that they're not good enough. They tried in the first game and then they were like, no, we can't do anything again. Maybe we're gonna try next year. So honestly, Japanese team, it's like every team needs to prove that they are the best. They need to win like 5 games and then everybody gets on a hype train and says this team is really good. Japanese team wins 1 game and Reddit goes crazy. Yes, Japan is so good. They're such a new region, but they are so amazing. And then they're just getting smashed in every game. Like maybe not smashed, but they are losing every game. it's like if you're Japanese, you're gonna have the hype whenever you win a game. But honestly, I think they can get the win today, but it doesn't really matter. I agree on that part.
Yeah. Like, I mean, in terms of the Japanese team, if the jungler doesn't gets rolling in the start, they don't seem to have any carry power. But I think it would still be going 1-0 to Rampage today, because what I remember from coaching Casualty Gamers, if they are down, like unmotivated, they are just gonna not play. Like, there's the Latin regions are such are so filled with emotional players that if they're not having like the motivation and to drive on the day, like this little extra that actually matters when it comes to an important game, they're just gonna straight out like say, yo, GG, go next, render 20. So
Yeah, that feels like it.
so probably that's probably coming. So I don't have high expectations to see a good match in this game. Probably Rampage's gonna take it, and they could still make it to playoffs still. Like, they still have the possibility to clinch into the third or fourth spot. So it will be interesting for them. But let's talk about, I would say, the match of today. Chiefs against Lion. Who will be ending actually at first place? Will Chiefs be able to beat Lion Gaming, or will Lion Gaming maintain an invincible?
I think depending on which side of the AD carry of Chiefs, like it's race, you say it race, I guess. Which side of like him we're gonna see in this tournament, like in this game, because he had some awesome games when he plays Jhin and just scopes everybody and just kills everybody. But if he doesn't have a great game, which he really needs, and same with Ejim, he has some good games and the games when he just like ints and dies like every time. So I think bot lane is gonna be like the decisive factor. I think that top lane and jungle from Chiefs are experienced enough to not get surprised even against someone who has such a good tournament like Odi. I think it's gonna be about bot lane. So my vote honestly goes to Lion. I love the interview yesterday with Odi when he said like we're gonna shut them up after Chiefs said that they expect an easy game. If you expect an easy game and if the enemy knows about it, shit's gonna go wrong. I know something about it. I said it's gonna be easy final, so you know I know how it works. I honestly expect Lion to take it.
Yeah, I do expect Lion to take this game, but I actually don't believe in a fairy tale of Lion Gaming where they just like go 7-0 in the group stage. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna drop a game to Chiefs or ANX, most likely ANX. But for me today, the game of the day is not the Chiefs and Lion Gaming. For me, it's Ints against Dark Passage.
Yes, definitely.
But most likely
But yeah, the other match is most hyped up match, I guess.
Yeah, but for me, it's because we screamed Ints and we screamed Dark Passage. No, but we screamed Dark Passage with completely different roster. But still, it's really interesting for me, like how this team's gonna like match up. And pretty sure Ints gonna take it. But if Koskyu doesn't play like he played last night, not last night, like day 2, when he like trolled and like died from a solo queue gank minute 3, and like tilted out of it, then Dark Passage has pretty good shot to get the point from Ints in Ints current state, because Ints they haven't woke up, they still like play their like dumb game, not their game, and I expect their coach Alexander to finally wake them up and like to explain them that they need to step up and play their game in order to make it to Worlds.
Totally
Who do you think is gonna win though, Chiefs or Lion today?
I think Lion gonna pull it up.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next game, Hatchy. What do you think? Because like I agree. I think Lion should take the game. But let's since we talked a bit about Antis in Dark Passage, who do you think is gonna win that game?
There is no doubt. Like we're talking about game 3, so Albus Nox Luna against Chaos Latin Gamers.
Yeah.
Like that's not even. Like I don't know what would have to happen. I don't know for Russian teams to lose this game. Like there is no way. Like it's definitely Albus Nox Luna winning this game.
Definitely.
It should be easy 2-0 for Albus Nox Luna today.
2-0? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they play Consulting Games Lego Jokers tonight. So yeah, it should be like they outclass the both teams actually in every lane. So plus they are the only hope for some kind of macro play in this tournament.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I
far.
mean, Russian team is the strongest for me in this tournament so far because they don't mess around. Like they
Yeah.
just play what they always did, not like Inns. Let's scrim and like gank bottom 5 times and before 20, and then when we go to official match, let's just not do any of these. So, what I like Russian team about like for is that that's exactly what you expect from them. It's like you know what they're going to do, but they're so good at doing this that they're gonna make it work anyways. So, that's really good. I don't think anybody stylistically can beat them just because it's Liquid who's the carry, and I don't think there's anyone who can challenge him. So.
Yeah, probably. So let's move into the questions because I'm getting spammed so much because today I think Immortaru is playing today for
Yes.
Dark Passage and not Coscu. So Hatchy, for someone that knows the guy, how good is Immortaru and can he match up against the other competition?
Let's see, Dark Passage. Dark Passage plays against Inns today. That's a tough start for Immortaru. That's all I can say. Like, they could have given him like an easier game, but Immortaru is a really talented guy. He played against good mid laners. I think we have really good mid laners as a region in general in Turkey. When like there is Naru, there was Abaria before, then there was Caps that is like super good.
Godbro as well.
Godbro, we had Godbro. Like even Hatchy was doing a good job. There is a lot of really good mids, and Immortaru never did bad against them. Like, he's a very, very talented player. He's kind of a tilty guy, and he's not the kind of guy that would die for no reason. I think he cares about how he looks like, and he cares about his KD, so we should at least expect that he's not gonna go 0-10 or like 1-10 or whatever. It may kind of hold him back sometimes because of how much he tries to stay in the back and like not mess up, but I think that's a good player for right now for Dark Passage. I'm pretty certain that Kirei is not happy about it because Coscu is his friend and they came to the team together and they're buddies and they expected to play together. So we'll see. I would say watch Kirei. If Kirei is tryharding, it means he approves the change, but if Kirei will do some random stuff, it means he wants Coscu back. In general, it's a good change. I think Immortaru cares much more about winning this tournament and going to World than Coscu does. So, yeah, I approve it. He's a really good guy. He has a wide champion pool. He plays a lot of champions, including assassins and utility carries. Didn't see him that much on, like, utility mages. We didn't see him that much on, like, standard mages, scaling mages, I would say. Yeah. But he can play champions like Zillion, LeBlanc, that kind of stuff. I think in general, he's a really good player. I think that's a good change. If I was them, seeing how unstable Coscu is and how unstable Dark Passage is, that they can look amazing and really terrible, Immortaru is a good thing because he's gonna add you some stability to the team. It's not like Coscu was the carry. Sure, he has an upside and he can have an amazing game like the Cassio game, but then people started to ban Cassio and suddenly Coscu is just irrelevant and he still has games when he does ints. So in that aspect, Immortaru is a good change, and I think it's really smart that they let him play. I'm definitely excited, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
I don't have anything to add about Immortaru. I only met this guy once in real life. It was in Kiev at Starladder I-League when we faced Besiktas, and all I can say is that he's super nice, genuine guy, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna help Dark Passage to get.
He had a pretty good tournament over there. He played quite some good games, Like I think it's really good.
He completely outclassed our mid laner.
Yep.
Well, I can't add too much, and I didn't see one game of this guy sadly. But well, so I'm gonna see him today. But let's move on to the next question.
It's still a tough start though, because it's Inns after all. And I'm afraid that if he has a bad start, he will not be as confident going into the other matches.
Probably.
So that's like the biggest challenge you could possibly give him.
But like the weird thing so far in this tournament is that Talkers had even problems laning against Plugo, KLG's mid laner.
After the first match, I said I know what Inns is lacking and it's a good mid laner. Because honestly, I don't know, man. This guy, if they play the smart team style when they play together, he's a good player because he's a role player. He's not a carry. He's just gonna do what you want him to do. You give him a certain champion, he's gonna do his job. the guy is not actually playing as a team right now, so he just looks awful because he's not a star. He's not a carry. He looks terrible because they don't do anything as a team. If they will go back to playing as a team, he will look better. But as for now, I don't know. If Immortal beats him today, though, if they win in a convincing fashion, that can give DrPuppet an amazing momentum that can make them a very strong contender for Worlds. If they lose, though, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult.
All right. So, here's a question to Sharkz about the playoff run. How much did it impact your gameplay having to replace your ADC before playoffs?
Oh, it didn't impact us at all since right after our regular season, we started playing with Smiley, XD Smiley, and we were completely prepared to play with him. And he felt really comfortable. He came to Russia, and we bootcamped with him for like almost 3 weeks before playoffs. So it felt fine, I guess. It wasn't like the reason we lost.
If anything, I would say they look better than before. So
You were with Ritix before, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Ritix. I guess Ritix knows it. He never understood why. I think they look better after they changed the ADC. So that's my personal opinion.
I only remember Ritix Draven and that Edward wanted to play with him duo so bad.
I only remember that he got relegated from Turkey.
And that. So alright. Yeah, the question to you, Hatchy. Someone said you tweeted about Elwin's being the best top laner in Turkey. Is it
No.
or not?
No, okay, let me disclose, let me say again, okay? I said Elwin is the best top laner that Wildcard regions have ever seen because he has unlimited champion pool and insane mechanics, but my next tweet was that he's definitely not the best top laner that Turkey has ever seen, because the truth is he's not actually that amazing. It's just people are giving him the comfort champions. It was a sarcastic tweet. People are banning stuff that he doesn't even play. It's easy to look good if nobody is aware of your weakness, and Elwind was a weakness of Dark Passage to me. It was a totally sarcastic comment. He's having a easy tournament. I'm okay, whatever. It's much. I don't want to say too much behind the scenes stuff, but for me, the Elwin situation, the Gnarbans are the biggest meme of this tournament, honestly.
All right. So let's move on to the next question. So what do you think about Line Gaming? 2 of the 3 of you have already faced with them in a match. They are aggressive and they are playing the meta not like other regions. Is that the factor that they are doing so well right now, that the meta fits them, or why are they sparking up right now? I think he's referring to us, Hatchy, because I played Lion the whole split and you played Lion with their roster before in Mexico.
Oh, that was a totally different roster back then, though. So I don't think they had Odeon White Lotus. Frankly enough, I don't even remember who was their jungler in ADC, which says a lot,
I don't remember right now the jungler, but Seo was playing ADC and they had Yuri in the mid lane.
Well, I don't even remember Yuri or their jungler. So the case is, it's not. I think part of that is definitely that they have a better staff. I guess I don't know if they made some changes, but their bans are smart. It looks like they are prepared for every game because their bans are good and their pick and bans is good. So good stuff, very good transfers, amazing players in 2 positions, and that's why they're much better now.
Yeah, so I can talk a bit more about that because I faced them in 2015 for the Copa Latam and the split in LAN, and they made first the best roster changes any team could have made in Latam. They picked up 2 of the best players of the whole region with one of the most solid top laners in the region, not a good top laner, but not bad at all, because this region doesn't have top laners, so he's just fine. And they have also Seiya, which is probably by far the best mid laner in whole Latam as well. So they have definitely the most talent stacked roster, and yeah, they they have right now a coach and I think 2 analysts, and they have been doing some work. I know the coach a bit and the analyst. Like the analyst is a very smart guy, so I think that's definitely helping them. But I think like the most important thing is actually that the patch hit at the right time with the right roster, like right now, because throughout the whole split, like my team was the only team that could manage to get a Lion to almost lose. Because we were a macro-oriented team, like we could teach them some rotations, and Lion didn't manage to handle lane swaps at all. So we would get an advantage, like until 25-30 minutes, and would throw them at one fight, because Lion made better decisions as a team than my team, and my team started tilting. Those have been like the 2 matches we faced them in the group stage, and like every team in the region got outclassed individually by Lion, because like Lion never needed to show any kind of macro if they ever knew how to do some macro rotational plays, because they were already better by not tilting in the end as the rest of their competition, and simply having like 2 key players that will carry at any point in the game, like in White Lotus and Seiya. Basically the 2 guys carry the whole tournament for them.
You are saying that the meta fits them. I don't think they give a damn about the meta. They just play whatever they want to play. Like that's the case with this tournament. You say that the meta fits them. I don't think so. I think they're just playing what they want to play. And they're definitely not a team that you can say, look, the meta is perfect for them. This is good right now, and they're like abusing it. No, they just play whatever they want. I don't really think it's about the meta.
I think it's I think not not in terms of champions, but simply that stunner lanes for first 5 minutes are at least a thing. I think this is the removal of lane swaps benefited them really well. That's what I mentioned.
That's a good point. That I can believe that. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to add something about Lion Gaming.
Go.
If I can. When I looked at the stats, especially at the goal difference at 10-minute and 20-minute mark, in their among all the teams, and in Lion Gaming had by far the best stats, because in their regular season they were up by 400 gold at 10 minutes in average, and by 3k on minute 20. And I was like, okay, it's like their own region, they're not gonna have the same stats here at IWQC, but when they came here, they actually even increased the goal difference at 10 minutes. It's like 450, and at 15 minutes, it's already almost 4k.
Yeah, that's...
So if you look at the stats for Lion Gaming, it's way easier to play IWQs than their own region.
Yeah, exactly. They are like it's easier than winning our own league. That's pretty amazing.
That's a good point, because like in terms of playstyle, they always played around mid game in region. Like the thing is, they sometimes messed up in the early game. Normally, I think like one of the games like that we almost won against them was because they fucked up bot lane trade. Like they went too aggressive bot lane, we could abuse that, basically. However, in a mid game, if they got a lead in the early game, they would just snowball it out of control, and from there they will take the game. That's a good point, because like if they got a lead always, also in this tournament so far, if they got a lead early game, they normally just snowball the lead in the mid game around the 10-15 minutes.
I mean, they're probably the team that plays Lucian most often. I think if you want to beat them, it's not a bad idea to start banning Lucian, put them on Sivir, and then you can try to abuse that, because I don't think they can be as dominant in lane. Even though I know that he likes Sivir, I think it's still a good choice, because the guy just goes off every game on Lucian. It's harder to have such a great positioning if you are forced to have an immobile champion. But if you give him Lucian and then no team plays both side of the map, then he can just do whatever he wants. So I think he may struggle a little bit, like they may struggle a little bit if they can't get such a dominant laners all the time.
In terms of snowballing, they might have a problem, but I think they will do just fine, because like White Lotus champion pool right now is really big. Because like in terms of regional play and overall, like he's actually famous in first and foremost for his Vayne play, and like he somehow managed to make it work, even though this meta does not benefit Vayne picks at all. in region in their region. So I don't think like the meta will hit like if they start banning illusion will be too hard, but might definitely make it easier to contest in the early game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, that's just a smart choice to me. The guy is just too good on Lucian to let him play Lucian. And you know, if there is a team like INS, for example, they should try to do that. Take away some of the early game champions that you struggle against. I mean, I know they won't face them now, but in general, any team you face, just try to take away some of these early game champions and play your game, play the meta style, and just play the slower game. But you know, it's just silly to pick such a scaling comp against the team that just wants to bully you all the time. So that's what I want to see from INS today, by the way, and like next days. Either take away some of the early game champions, or just play the early aggressive comp again, or just play as a team like you did. I want to see their mid laner roaming level 3, 4, 5 like he did in scrims. You know, that's what they were amazing at. So
I'd actually love to see White Lotus on some other high like skill cap champions with dashes especially. I know like Ezreal is not like a good early game AD carry, but I would love to see White Lotus like
His
team
SU
fight.
pretty good. His
Yeah,
SU is pretty good.
team fighting on Ezreal, especially after like 2-3 items power spike. But I don't think it fits their playstyle, and especially Ezreal is kind of not that good in current meta. But we'll see.
mean-
I don't know like what other champions he could play.
I mean, I think right now the meta he can play everything. Ezreal is a good pick actually for him. Like he played a lot of Ezreal the spring split. Like I almost let him play only Ezreal because he was really good at the champion. So I don't know how much he has been practicing it, but I don't think like champion pool wise he will have a hard problem because everything that can be played or should be played right now, he definitely can play. But I would be interested to see actually how good would the team work if he had to play something like Ezreal and not having the same pressure on bot lane.
that's
Maybe
the way
we're
to
gonna
go.
Yeah.
That's what you need to see.
maybe we're gonna see some other AD carries this tournament, because I remember like in scrims on 6.15 we saw some Tristana, we saw some Kog'Maw. Maybe we're gonna see some of these AD carries like from the other teams. Maybe it's like as a team composition, not just like a random pick, you know?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so if I was to like sum it up again, my list like of the teams after the group stage is first place Russian team, second place who did I? INS, third place Lion, fourth place Dark Passage, then probably Chiefs, Saigon Jokers, Japanese team, and KLG. I think that's how it's gonna end.
Yeah, like I think it's we could also swap GPL for the Japanese team and the GPL team. I think either one could be having the same spot, but otherwise I agree. Like
Do you all agree on this order with top 4 though? Because that would give us some interesting semi-final matchups.
going for playoffs, I still think Lion will manage to clinch first or second place, but
Second place probably because they have a better, like they beat INS, so yeah, maybe.
but in terms of like power rankings, I would agree because I'm not too sure how well Line Gaming will be able to do in best of 5 scenario against INTC, Dark Passage, or Albus Nox.
I think it's really possible that we're gonna have Albus Nox Luna against Dark Passage and INS against Lion. That's just a hunch. I think that's how it's gonna look like.
Yeah, I agree with this part. I hope we're not gonna have like Anix against INS and Dark Passage against Lion Gaming, because it would be a disaster for Wildcard.
That would be disaster, yes, I
There is
agree.
actually a chance that, for example, Lion Gaming
Yes.
finish first, ANX second, INS third, and Dark Passage fourth. So we're gonna have Dark Passage against Lion Gaming.
I think the even more possible scenario is that if Dark Passage would win today, and then Russian team would get the first place, that's something that I think is really possible as well, and
Yeah.
it would be terrible for Russia. I think Russia should start throwing games soon so they don't face INS.
Let's do the sub roster. So for the last question of this podcast, there was an interesting question to us, Sharkz. Free Convict asked us if we would consider to come to Turkey as a coach if we get an offer to contest Hatchy the next split.
I actually got 5 offers from Turkey last split, and I got like 2 more this split. I don't know. I'm not like a big fan of Turkey. Maybe because I was there already like 15 to 20 times. Because when I used to be a pro tennis player, I played like 4 to 5 tournaments every year in Turkey, like in Adana, Istanbul, and many different other cities. So I don't feel like going there, and I don't have like some awesome or like great players I would love to coach as like my dream, as my goal. So I feel comfortable with my teams that I'm coaching right now. I think we have great potential, especially when Edward joined and like sharing his LCS experience with us. And I'm pretty sure we should be even stronger next split.
Am I right if I say that it's DrPuppet and Besiktas who made the offers this split?
You are.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, well, I also got some offers this and last split to come to Turkey and coach, but right now I can only do remote coaching, so it felt like I had to deny them at all from the beginning because I am still studying. So plus I like Sharkz, I didn't have huge interest on entering the Turkey scene first because I already coached a Turkey team earlier next year when I was starting. I didn't have fun coaching those players. And also there's no one like right now in the scene that I would like say yes, this is like a guy I would definitely want to coach one day. So
besides the supermassive players, of course, they are amazing,
no,
right?
they're pretty.
Yeah,
horrible.
but the spot is busy, you know.
Yeah. But I can imagine that like that's big reason why I'm in supermassive, because players like Naru, Fabulous, Taldrin, Dumbledore, you know, Stonemage, they're actually really good, and it's a great experience. But yeah, I understand you. I feel you.
Like, and if I like even looking in the perspective of me coaching a team, I would still like prefer like South American region because I feel more familiar to the people, the players, and also speak their languages. So it's much easier for me also to coach those regions. But I, in general, like I had also already coaching experience a team from your regions, and even also a Japanese team one time. That was also pretty fun. But like right now, if you guys like let's take this question. If there was a chance you could choose a region where you coach next split, would you stay at the region, or is there like a team or a region that you definitely always wanted to work as a coach?
I have offers from EU LCS right now. I have some offers from EU Challenger Series. For me, it's gonna be between EU LCS and continuing with Supermassive. For now, I'm leaning towards like Supermassive. I'm really happy, and like we have great plans for next split. I can't talk about it yet, but as soon as these changes are gonna be official, I'm definitely gonna say more about it, because if our plans will actually work out, I made like quite some list. We're gonna be ahead of every wildcard team in terms of infrastructure, period, and I'm super certain about it. We have the funding to do it, and if we will do it, I'm definitely gonna stay because it's amazing, and you're all gonna be surprised by how it's gonna look like.
What about you?
I have some predictions about Hatchy plans due to his smile, but I'm not gonna say it. I don't want to get.
We're not leaking anything. We're just firing shots that we didn't fire.
Supermassive White Lotus, guys.
No. Actually, it's the same for me. I actually would love to coach in the future some other team, maybe like European or American one. Especially, I was like in the United States for 3 years, and I actually love to coach like some American players. Maybe like Challenger Series, or even be like an assistant coach for some of the team. But for now, same as Hatchy, I'm super happy on my team. I enjoy spending time and like living with all the players.
That's the biggest thing. Enjoying to spend time with your team is like a huge thing, and I love my team. So yeah, that's huge.
It's not like I know like some of the coaches, for example. Oh, I have screamings in 2 hours. Like I want to kill myself. I don't want to go there.
That's so true.
But I have to. Yeah, but for me, every day I wake up, I like, holy shit, screams in 8 hours. Can they start earlier? I don't know. Sometimes I even look for screams at like 11 a.m. to start screaming earlier because we want like screams so bad.
Yeah, that's true. It's just like walking to the gaming room after you wake up. It just feels good, you know, because you're just happy to see these players.
Yeah.
Like I have hilarious team. They're super cool guys. So that's the biggest thing.
I think that's the key for every coach. Like, also in terms of getting the team to work, the environment and the composition of players is such important for how our work impacts. Because like I had mixed environments. Like I didn't have the best environment last year in KLG. I didn't have nothing good at all with Lost Kings earlier this year, but I had a better environment with my Challenger Series team in Brazil than any team I ever coached so far. And like for me, the most fun for me to coach was this Brazilian team, even though like it was the worst team of all of those teams I coached. But it was fun, like, and I think I can definitely rely to you guys. But there came one question up, guys, to close out the podcast. And yesterday, a Brazilian team called Kate Stars announced a 3-month boot camp in Korea. What do you think about that?
It's totally useless. They're not even gonna find scrims. They're just gonna play freaking solo queue and then expect that they're gonna magically get better. I don't think it's a good idea at all.
Yeah,
I could go anytime. We had this option, but at one point you just have to ask yourself, how much of that is just like fun and a cool experience and how productive it's gonna be. I don't think it's like, I think people have a wrong idea when they think, oh, we're gonna go play in Korean solo queue and we're gonna be so much better. I don't ultimately think it matters that much who you play against. It matters how much, like how you practice and how tryhard you are and how seriously you take it. Doesn't really matter what kind of opponent you have. It's all in your hands in the end. Like you can work on some stuff no matter who you play against, but the question is, do you have enough motivation and drive to do it? I don't think it's magically gonna change the team.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Hatchy on this part. Like, first of all, they want to go there to prepare for next season, but we don't even know the patch we're gonna play on. And like, if you go to Korea and you wanna play with like Korean Challenger Series teams, you want to like, I guess, take their experience, take their knowledge, and use it back in your scene. But you cannot even use it because you don't know like the patch yet. Like you don't know how this Korean team's gonna play in the future. And right now you like cannot learn from them because it's kind of pointless for you. And I don't think Keystars is that level of the team that needs to go to Korean bootcamp. I mean, if they had like no competition in Brazil, or like they couldn't scream like some other teams that like they couldn't scream any teams that like was on their level, maybe there was some sense, but not even Korea. Go to Europe first, like for example, Inns did.
Inns is doing a good job with this. I give them that. Now the only thing that's left is to actually play like you do in scrims, because bootcamp was amazing, scrims were amazing, but then you just don't use it, so it's pretty sad.
Or maybe, for example, if you have like if you have like if Keystars, for example, have like top 5 solo queue players, and they're like, okay, we go to Korea to play solo queue for 3 months. I mean, I would totally be fine with it, but to go to Korea as a Brazilian team for 3 months as a team to try to improve, it's totally useless.
They expect to be like Super Saiyan mode when they come back after Korean solo queue. It doesn't really work like this.
Yeah, pretty sure they're gonna come, lose 20 scrims in a row, their ass gonna hurt, and like their coach gonna be mad, and their atmosphere gonna be super set, and like players gonna tilt, they're gonna, I don't know, get depression or some shit, and I don't know, there's no sense.
Yeah, so they announced that they are going there to learn also about the culture and like how teams work there. So I'm definitely interested in what the results are gonna be. So,
but Alexander, you can I don't know, message Monte Cristo on Twitter and ask him about infrastructure and pay $0 for this, and instead they're gonna like spend $100,000 of it.
My friends, if this would be so easy in Brazil, I would already had the funding to do such a project.
But you know what? That's what he's saying. You don't need money to find out about how the Korean teams work. And the case is, what do they expect to happen? Like they will get into every gaming house, talk to every coach? That's not gonna happen, probably.
I think they expect a bit more than it might gonna happen, because I doubt they will manage to scrim decent teams, because like they were 3rd place, 4th place in Brazil, the split. They are not a good team in my opinion. They lacked in every part of what good teams needs to be, and they don't have like many individual players that are really over the top in the region. So I don't know. It's probably because like the they have contacts more than anything else, because like their owner of the org is a Korean guy. He brought like the first Korean imports to Brazil in 2014. So we'll see what happens, because I think like they're going there with the hopes they're gonna come back as Super Saiyans and finally destroy in INTZ's run in Brazil. But I am really doubting that this is gonna happen.
Alright, that would be it, I guess.
Yeah, so guys, do you have any shoutouts left before we close out the stream? Starting with you, Sharkz.
I know. I want to shout out to all my players, all my team, our CEO, Alexei Vega, and really glad for the opportunity to coach my current team. And thanks everybody for tuning in. It's awesome experience for me, pretty sure for you guys as well. And me and Hatchy had some misunderstandings before, but you're an awesome guy, and it was actually really fun to talk to you here, as well as you, Alexander. Thanks for inviting me. So that's
Thanks
it.
for joining. So Hatchy.
I also want to do shout out to my organization. They are actually amazing because they let me do a lot of projects during these 4 months when I'm free. So I'm gonna have like my YouTube and stream, but I'm also gonna be in Polish television for Worlds. I'm going to be doing the Esports Academy in Poland, first ever, with workshops for children, parents, and teenagers. I have a lot of stuff that I'm gonna be doing right now, which I'm really excited about, and hopefully all these experiences will make me a better coach. We fucked up at TBF, and for that I'm sorry, but I'm pretty certain we're gonna be at Worlds next year, and yeah, just trust me on this one. So thanks for watching, guys.
Alright,
And
so
thanks for inviting me.
So thanks both of you on Green doing this podcast. I think that it was fun, and we got a lot of great insight on how the different regions work, and also for all the viewers for tuning in, mostly the Turkish fans from Supermassive. Thank you also for joining us.
Yes,
and,
you are the best. You are the best, guys.
So yeah, I hope to be able to do this again after the wildcard in terms of words preparation. And yeah, so if you like the stream, don't just check it out. Like, follow us on Twitter, or even here on Twitch. I mostly stream Portuguese though, but every now and then will be an English stream. So yeah, so check it out. Thanks for tuning in and watching, and have a wonderful day.
Yep. See ya. Goodbye, guys.
Bye bye.